Welcome back to the stream, everybody. We are back live as we had mentioned. Better, hopefully it's a bit clearer and we don't get as much lag. We appreciate you. Welcome back. And let's go ahead and go crazy on that like button. Combordian Custom. Hi all. What's up, Combordian? How are you? So we're back at it, guys. We're back to answering your questions. Let's just get everybody rolling back into the stream. Do not forget to click that like button as you walk through the doors of the stream. You guys are getting live images from the capital of Ukraine right now, Kiev, as you can see, where it is right now about 5:30, I believe. All right. With that said, Combordian, what up, Geek? What's up, Comboard?
It's 5:19.
How are you? It's 5:19 right now in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev. We're just getting everything. Ario Iman, welcome back. Thank you for joining again. Don't forget to click the like button on your way in. We're back at it. We will be back to answering your questions once again. And moving forward, you guys, don't forget to click that like button. 22 of us and only 8 likes. So let's push through those likes again. And we will get back to your questions. Cornbreads is my name. Cornbread, right? Cornbread. Oh, cornbread. No. Oh, yeah.
I just want K and a C.
What's up, So Sick? Sorry. Komasa Gaming, welcome back. You guys can get back to asking questions, and we will return to answering them. Don't forget to click the like button. We're only at 10 likes, and there's 23 of us. Let's try and get to at least 20 likes. Let's go.
Okay. So6 says, do you think RFC Russian Federation chicken will be the thing in Russia soon?
I'm not sure what the Russian Federation chicken you're talking about.
Maybe Russian chicken instead of
Russian
American.
chicken. That's I think you will get fried Russian tanks for
Chicken
lunch.
nuggets. Okay. Chris Out Fishing says, does Putin want Ukraine to join NATO? Is why?
So I think, Chris, you perhaps are confusing things a little bit there. So Putin does not want Ukraine to join NATO, and that is why this war was launched. At least that was the excuse, or that was the claim that was put at the time that they had moved forward. Next question.
All right, guys, we're like 3 likes away from 15. Let's go ahead and hit the like button. And of course, everybody's question will be answered. Make sure you hit the like button, and we'll go on. So, yeah, So6 says, because KFC left. That's his joke. But Cornbread says, do you think this is a distraction from China to backdoor Taiwan?
Okay, so there's a couple of things. I get asked this question a lot, and I will answer the same question that I answer in the same way that I always answered it. I really do not believe that China will attack Taiwan. I think China is teasing Taiwan, to be honest. I think, again, you have to look at the history of these countries. Russia has been known to have the ability to move forward and actually invade other countries, while China is not. China is a primarily defensive country, and if they really wanted to invade Taiwan, they would have done it in these days at the beginning of this war, where the world was focused on Russia. But the fact that they didn't, and I know at the time there were people talking about Chinese airplanes entering into Taiwan's airspace, but again, they didn't do anything. So all they did is they went in and they went back. So if China really wanted to move forward, they wouldn't wait 3 weeks into this war to try and invade into Taiwan. I think they're doing it to try and frustrate the Taiwan government in order for them to come to China and ask them what they want, and perhaps then they can negotiate something. I don't think China will attempt to take over Taiwan. I think they're really all empty threats. Next question.
Joe Gold says, is it true that they said they're making progress in peace talks?
So, Joe, that was said. There were various reports, and I did read them from various sources, that there were progress in the peace talks. With that said, Russia, unfortunately, is not one to trust on these peace talks. They may have an idea or a strategic move that they want to delay. So, What do I mean by that? At the beginning of this war, Russia, over, I think, a span of about 6 weeks, kept saying that we are not going into Ukraine. But they did go into Ukraine. So why did they say we're not going? They were preparing their military. The peace talks could also be a strategy for Russia, having the Ukrainians take it easy on the front lines while they rearrange their troops. And they set up supply lines. And I can tell you that recent reports are saying Russian troops have established supply lines using military-grade trains, armored trains that are reinforcing the supply lines on the front of Kiev. So on one side, you're talking about your peace talks, and on the other side, you're talking about preparing these supply lines that are meant for longer terms of invasion.
All right, guys, we're only 1 like away from 20 likes. Hit the like button. Let's keep the stream going and boost it so that more people can go in and so that we can hear more from our guest speaker. So make sure you guys do hit the like button. Alice says, if the whole world joins NATO, we would still find something to go to war about.
So Alice, I do agree that humans are instinctively egoistic people. So their ego is strong, and sometimes that ego can lead to war. We will try and stick to the Ukrainian type of question, relevant to this conflict. But I do agree that we will always. But I think there has to be some authority that doesn't allow these sorts of wars to continue on. And that authority was at one point or another the United States, right? Control over NATO and trying to be the world peacekeepers. That obviously is no longer the case, and it's not just because of the United States leadership, but primarily because the United States is more concerned now about internal issues happening internally. So. And this has kind of been a circular thing, right? It was Britain at one point, France at another, Spain at some point as well. So this is a world circle sort of thing.
Randall Milton says, when the leaders visit Kiev, do you think Putin will attack? If so, will NATO respond?
So I don't know what leaders you are referring to. If you're talking about Ukrainian leaders, if Ukrainian leaders do meet with the Russian leaders, could they be attacked? I believe they can. I do believe that Russia is not sincere in the fact that they want negotiations. And I can tell you, there was a report that was published about 5 or 6 days ago now, during one of the times of negotiations where the Russian negotiators were meeting with the Ukrainian negotiators, there was a disagreement. And in this disagreement, one of the Russian negotiators actually killed a Ukrainian negotiator. So, what does that tell you? Are they serious about these negotiations? Probably not. Another example is, when at the beginning of this war, Russia wanted to meet with Zelensky in order to negotiate peace talks on possible withdrawal. What stopped the advancement? It was the fact that Zelensky did not want to meet with Russia in part of Ukraine. I don't recall the exact city. Part of Ukraine that was captured under Russian soldiers. What does that tell you? That Zelensky feared for his life. He felt that the Russians could have betrayed him and killed him then and there, or executed him, or captured him. He wanted to meet in Poland, and the Russians refused. Next question.
There's sirens, by the way.
Is there sirens? We'll see. Guys, I'm going to stay silent for a minute. You're hearing sirens in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, right now. We'll stick to the sirens for a little bit. Guys, make sure you click the like button if you haven't done so already, please. Just so you guys are aware, what they're saying in the audio is they're asking people to go down to the bunkers and stay safe, and there is a prayer that's being read over the audio. And part of it as well to leave the streets. Again, guys, you're getting live images from the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, right now, where the sirens are off, signaling Russian airplanes have made an advancement into the Kiev airspace. If you've not clicked the like button, people, please, guys, click that like button. It really helps us out. It supports the stream.
Говорить департамент з питань цивільного захисту Львівської обласної державної адміністрації. Громадяни, відбій повітряної тривоги. Усім вернутись до місць роботи або проживання. Допоможіть у цьому хворим та людям похилого віку. Будьте готові до можливого повторного нападу противника. Завжди майте з собою засоби індивідуального захисту. Уважно слухайте повідомлення Департаменту з питань цивільного захисту Львівської облдержадміністрації.
Aleph, welcome to the stream. We're in Canada.
Уважно слухайте повідомлення Департаменту з питань цивільного захисту Львівської облдержадміністрації.
Guys, we're only 8 likes away from 40. Let's go ahead and push that like button, please, please, please.
In
Top left corner is Lviv. Okay, now that the sirens have calmed down, it looks like. Let's take a look here. All right, we go back to our questions, guys. Let's get to 40 likes before we move on, and I'm going to have our host return.
Pat says, when's the atomic war going to start? When do you think the atomic war is going to start?
Okay, so that's a good question, Falak. So in terms of if we're referring to atomic war as a nuclear war, I think there's two instances where you'll see a nuclear war over the next probably couple of weeks. Is the sirens back on? I think we're okay. So two scenarios where we'll see nuclear war emerge in Ukraine. The first instance is if the Russian troops on the ground feel that there's absolutely no way that they can take over Ukraine. They feel that they will lose this war in Ukraine, which means globally the view of Russia as a military power will go down. And this was not the first time that could happen. It happened in with the war between between Japan and the United States. When the United States felt like they had no option and they would have been lost this war with Japan, they ended up using nuclear weapons. So I see the same instance arising in this case. If Russia feels that there's no way that they can capture the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, without them having to use nuclear weapons, I believe that they will. And the other instance that I believe that they may use nuclear weapons is if there is a global involvement against Russia and they feel that this could be the end of their country or Russia, then they will use nuclear weapons. And I think it'll lead to a global disaster and a nuclear war. We talk about World War III. World War III is likely to be a nuclear war. Next question.
Alright guys, so we're only 2 likes away from 40 likes. If you guys could go ahead and hit that like button, again, it'd be greatly appreciated, and we'll go from there. Again, make sure you guys let us know your questions in the chat as well, and every question will be answered. But we need 2 of you guys to hit the like button, then we'll continue on. There's a bunch of you guys in here, so only 2 of you guys need to click the like button. Alright, we are at 40 likes. Irely says, when do you think this is going to finish? I think he's referring to the war.
So, Irely, it's a good question. And I think, again, I get this question a lot. And we're all wondering exactly when this war is going to finish. I think it'll finish, for the Russians at least, when their objective is met. And I think it's clear that the objective for the Russians is that they have full control over Ukraine. And when we're talking about full control over Ukraine, we're not talking about full control over Ukraine as a country, but over Ukraine as the leadership. So Russia does not want to have soldiers on the ground in Ukraine. that is really bad to them. If that were to happen, they would probably lose soldiers every single day. You get into a guerrilla warfare. It's a disadvantage to Russia. But what they want is they want to have control over the Ukrainian leadership, where they can make orders, and Ukrainian leadership will just enforce those orders. So it's an easy win. So for them, capturing the capital is what signals that they have full control over the Ukrainian leadership. So it will end once they enter the capital. And one of two things will happen. Either you see the extradition, so that the Ukrainian, Zelensky specifically, and his political party, or the vast majority of them, will leave Ukraine, and Russia will put whomever they wish, or whoever they see as most loyal, in leadership. That's one. The other option that we will see they will leave is if they hunt after Zelensky, and they do capture Zelensky, and they will probably execute him. That's what I see happening. Execute Zelensky, and whoever they feel does not agree with them, and then again walk away. Now, when they walk away, whoever comes in and chooses to run the country will have at the back of his mind that Russia can always come back and hunt for me, as they had hunted for Zelensky. So these are the two instances where I see this war ending and Russian troops withdrawing back. Now, there could be a country like a global power that comes out and says, you know what, Russia, we will guarantee that Zelensky is not going to be in Ukraine. We will guarantee that the leader of Ukraine is going to follow your commands, withdraw. If that happens, Russia will have to prove to their people that they've won this war. Because this stuff happens usually in, behind closed doors. So I think if that were to happen, then they will make it seem like there was a big fight for the capital, when in reality, probably not. They will enter the capital a day, and then they will say, okay, now we've won this war, let's draw the troops back. And next question.
All right, guys, we're only 6 likes away from 50 likes. So everybody go ahead and click the like button. We'll go ahead and reach 60 likes. There's over 115 people, so do your duty and hit the like button. All right, Canyon says, with Russia looking so weak and not having the real military capability, why is the U.S. not going into Russia?
So there's a couple of things about Russia's military capability. So regardless of how weak seemingly the Russian military is, one of the biggest players in the world military these days are these nuclear weapons. So you can be really weak and have nuclear weapons that can end the world. It's no longer about personnel, right? You could have a country with 1 million soldiers, but no airplanes, right? No fighter jets, and another country with 100 fighter jets, and guess who would win? The country with 100 fighter jets, right? They would bomb all these 1 million soldiers. So personnel doesn't matter anymore. But I do think that the threat that the United States fears from Russia are those nuclear weapons, and they fear the fact that a lot of American bases exist around Russia. Europe has American bases. The Middle East has American bases. So even if Russia doesn't target the United States soil, there are American targets within the vicinity of Russia. And those targets will really be devastating. And, even more importantly, a global nuclear war will lead to a disaster to the entire planet, and potentially probably the end of the planet if we went out to a full-scale war. And just to give you some statistics, about 10% of the Russian nuclear arsenal would lead to the end of the world, and that number is expected to be even a lower percentage of the American arsenal. But it won't take the entire Russian nuclear arsenal to create devastation globally. Next question.
Red Side says, do you think China and North Korea are working with Russia to destroy the United States?
So I really don't think the United States is the target in this war. So I don't think there is a global plan to destroy the United States. I think right now the plan is that I think Russia fears NATO right this second more than they fear the United States. At the end of the day, the United States is far away from Russia, and there are some communication between Russia and the United States. I mean, you see them. We saw Obama, we saw Trump, and now we see Biden. Before this war, obviously, have communication with Putin. So there is some communication there. I think Russia's looking at this, and Putin is looking at this long term, from a strategic perspective. Do we allow this country that is a neighbor to us to have defense missiles against our nuclear weapons, which we always use as a pressing piece when we negotiate with the United States, right? So keep in mind, so whenever Russia negotiates with the United States, what do they always use as the pressing piece? Nuclear weapons. Now, if there's an anti-defense air defense missile right above Ukraine, so the moment that the Russian, let's say a nuclear weapon flies off Russia, it's going to be attacked by the air missiles right above Ukraine, which means that it's no longer a big threat to the United States. So I think they're viewing it from a long-term sort of view and not really about looking at it in terms of hurting the United States today. Next question.
All right, guys, we're only 4 likes or 6 likes away from 60 likes. If you could, help us out here, hit the like button to make the stream grow, that would be amazing. ABC says, do you think the Russia's going into Ukraine for the Ukrainian oil?
I really, so that is another question I've heard before. So I don't think so. Ukraine is not a huge producer of oil. And if we were really going to say, are they going in for a specific natural resource, it would probably be wheat. But again, Russia is a big producer of that as well. I think this is a logistic move going into Ukraine. The location of Ukraine is important to Russia, particularly because it was part of the Soviet Union. So Russia still perceives that this originally belonged to us anyways, and now you don't want to follow our command. And plus, it is a buffer zone between them and the NATO country, Poland. So its location is strategic, and not so much that it's strategic from a natural resources lens. Next question.
All right, guys, we're so close to 60 likes, and there's over 130 of you. So 5 people, go ahead and hit that like button. Do your job, and we'll go ahead and proceed with the questions. So we'll give you guys a few minutes. Go ahead and click the like button as fast as you guys can so that we can proceed. We're at 55. We need 5 more likes, and yep. Okay. Namiko says, do you think that Russia's trying to re-get the Soviet Union?
So I think Russia has given up on capturing the entire Soviet Union. I think Russia, though, does not want control over the Soviet Union, but they want the people within, or the leaders within the Soviet Union, to know in their mind their place, right? It's even Chechnya, right? Chechnya is not part of Russia officially, but they know that they have to answer to Putin. Why? So Russia wants this sort of style of thinking. They want these countries around them, the countries of the Soviet Union, to be like states. They have their own leadership, they have their own governance and their own laws, but they answer to Putin. And the Russian leadership feel that the only way they can get to happen is through fear. If these countries' leaders know that if they disobey the Russian leadership, that they will be hunted after, and that that these countries that they were given by Russia, Russia will be able to take back, then they will always be on their toes and cautious of not obeying the commands of Putin. So, are they trying to get the Soviet Union back physically, geographically? No. Do they want the countries of the Soviet Union to obey the commands of Russian leadership? Absolutely, and they're willing to go into war for that.
All right, guys, hit the like button. Only 3 likes away from 65. So keep the likes going. You guys are doing a good job, but we need more likes. Booba says, would it be better to demilitarize Ukraine?
So it really depends on your thought, what you think better for who. For Russia, absolutely, right? A neutral Ukraine means that if Russia were to get into a war, for example, with NATO, then the only weapons that would exist would be essentially Russian weapons with the Russian military, and they can advance that way. Is it good for Ukraine? Probably not, right? If a war like this were to happen the next time and Ukraine is demilitarized, then they would just stand barehanded and watch as the Russian tanks reach in the middle of their capital. So it really depends on who you're looking at. Next question.
Mike says,
Okay, guys, I'm just gonna stop for a second. Guys, let's go ahead and click that like button. I know there's like 113 of us and there's 63 likes. Let's try and get to 70 likes in the next minute or so we can continue on. Another thing I want to add, Noodles is talking about, guys, let's not get into a religious debate. This is not a religious chat right now or a religious stream. We're focusing on Ukraine and the war that's happening in the capital. So let's stick to that topic. Let's stick to the topic of discussion. Again, this is not a religious chat, guys, by any means. We're talking about Ukraine, so let's stick to that. With that said, right now in the capital of Ukraine, it's 5:44. And just a little while ago, you guys heard probably those sirens that went out. We didn't notice any airstrikes, but there were reports of airstrikes earlier on in the night in the capital.
There was also a report of U.S. tanks being sent to Poland on trains.
So again, we're getting this. How long ago was that? So we're getting another report that the United States had shipped some tanks over to Poland. Again, we don't know if they're headed towards Ukraine after that, but as things sit right now, American tanks heading towards Poland. Could the Americans be using that to reinforce NATO as part, obviously knowing that Poland's a NATO country? Are they using that to protect Poland in fears that Russians might advance into Poland? Potentially. But again, there's reports of train loads full of American tanks heading towards Poland.
Yeah, again, the videos are all in the Discord, so...
Yeah, we have the live videos for you guys, or videos of those tanks being shipped to Poland on trains in the Discord for you to see. The link for the Discord is in the description. Again, guys, we're at 70 likes. Let's try and get to 75 likes and push the stream as far as we can get it. And then we will return to answering your questions. Absolutely, Green, I agree with you. Let's try and keep this channel friendly. Let's not get into religious debates. This is not the place for a religious debate. We're talking about Ukraine right now, guys. 3 more likes until we get to 75. So let's get those 3 likes, guys. NATO and the US ain't that stupid. They tell all they do. Yeah, they don't, DDS. I agree with you. NATO and the US are not telling everything they do, but sometimes, pictures and things are captured. Awesome, guys. Thank you for the likes. Let's keep pushing. 77 likes. Only 3 likes to get to 80. You guys, again, this is the capital. Right now, as the morning rises, because it's 5:46 exactly in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, right now. We can finally see the morning lights in the capital. Normally, in the next 15 minutes, around 6 o'clock is when we tend to start to see airstrikes. So we'll see if that is the case tonight, or we will see some calm. Demon says, I have info that cannot be shared, but... Guys, let's get to 80 likes. Only 2 more likes to go.
I see him in the Discord.
Hmm? Demon, you're in Discord? Damon, my apologies, not Demon. Feel free to message in Discord if you'd like, Damon. Awesome, guys. Let's get to 100 likes. Geek, you are on the right track. I work with the Fed government. So, right track in terms of no way through China. Guys, let's get to 100 likes. Only 20 more of you need to click that like button. We're at 100. That would be so appreciated. XRP, I hope you all get to come and visit us here in Australia. We are truly fortunate and hope that all can set aside their differences for a better, safer world. Cheers. Absolutely, that's what matters the most, guys. So sick, sorry, we'll get into the questions in a little while. Just gotta Let's get to 100 likes, guys, so that the stream can continue to be pushed by YouTube. What's happening? Take this laptop. Nothing. If we get 7 more likes, we're at 90. Awesome. 6 now. You guys are doing awesome. Damon, yes, the Discord is already set up. The link for the Discord, Damon, is in the description. Guys, only 5 more likes until we get to 90. What? You're already in the voice chat, Damon. Why do I keep calling him Demon? 3 more likes to 90. If we reach 100, I'm going to clap for everybody in the stream as hard, as loud as I can. But for now, guys, we're again, right now in the capital of Ukraine, Kiev. It is 5:49. And as you can see, relatively clear skies. Although we did hear sirens a little while ago. A very short time ago, we heard some sirens. I did not hear an airstrike. I don't know if any of you heard an airstrike. I did not hear an airstrike, but I did hear the sirens. And awesome, guys. Only 10 likes to get to 100. But yeah, a little while ago there were sirens. I'm sure you guys, most of you guys have heard them. But I didn't hear any strikes. So Colin, click the like button. Thanks so much, Colin. We appreciate it. But if any of you heard that like button, please let me know. Please let me know.
Heard the like button. Yeah.
Not the like button. Heard an airstrike. If you heard the like button as well, let me know. But yeah, in about 8 likes, we'll continue on with our questions and answers. Now I'll ask you questions and you'll answer. Switch these. So I will be the moderator, and Geek Junior will be our expert. So send in your questions in 7 likes and we'll begin again. But like I said, right now, guys, in the capital, it's very close to 6 a.m. and normally that is the time that we see the heaviest amount of battles in the capital. Damon says, you told me to write it in Discord. Where do I write? I have nowhere to do this.
He wants it in the general. He wanted.
You can send it in general. You can send it.
But there's basically anywhere. The voice
chat, general, wherever you'd like to send it. Guys, only 6 more likes to get to 100. Let's get to 100 and then we'll get right into your questions.
You can send it in the unconfirmed news.
Yeah, unconfirmed news. Yeah, there's a lot of different subsections. So choose whichever subsection you like the most and send it in. 4 more likes to get to 100, then we get back to the questions. And I'm really excited to get back to answering your questions and having our expert. What do we call you? Geek Junior. Geek Junior answer your questions and see what... Thanks for clicking the like button. Awesome. 3 more likes until we get to 100. Colin, by the way, how are you? Nice to see you back in the stream. 4 more likes. All right, guys. 3 more likes, then we get back. Right under it. Both of those are in Kiev, and you're looking at a major mall in the capital in the top right corner there, and the skies in the bottom. Now we're at 100. Says your blockchain voting is tamper-proof. Okay, Mike. So we'll get to all of the questions now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and we'll have our expert, bring it up. Damon asks you, Geek, do you believe China is truly subsidizing Russia and supplying them with food, ammo, or do you believe China is smarter than that?
I personally believe China's going to stand with Russia on this case, especially as of recently where the U.S. kind of threatened Russia and hinted at if you want to support Russia and you want Russia to start buying your supplies and try kind of use you as a way to avoid sanctions, then we're going to sanction you. And we've noticed that China as well has the same kind of government of Russia, where he really takes it on himself and he feels like it's more of a pride thing. And so I believe that, yes, they're going to supply Russia. Number one, because to them it's an alternative, so that if the U.S. ever decides that, we're going to sanction China, then they have a route that they can sell their supplies from there. And at the same time, he now feels like, the U.S. is kind of undermining him because, look, because they're kind of threatening him as a country. They're threatening China with sanctions, and China doesn't like to be threatened. And so they're kind of going to do whatever the U.S. says not to do.
Next question.
Yeah.
See you next question.
Yeah, next question.
All right. So guys, let's get to 105 likes. I'm going to give you my view as well on that question. I do think, so there's two parts to this. The first part is answering whether Russia needs China. Is Russia really in that bad of a state that they need food from China in order for their soldiers and their people to survive? I think that's not necessarily true. Not in the short term. Probably in the long term they may need China, but not in the short term. I think what that means more than anything for the Russians is, again, they want to prove to the world that we do have allies. Yes, you may think that the whole world is with Ukraine, but look, China, one of the biggest producers in the world, is with Russia. So don't think that the whole world is with you. Some of them, and a big part of them, are with us. That's what matters the most. And I think for China, when they are being threatened, I do agree, by the United States, that we will impose sanctions on you, China, the same way we impose them on Russia. If you don't follow our orders, again, when you back somebody into a corner, they join the enemy because they see you as an enemy. So I think that made the relationship between China and Russia stronger. Because at the beginning, China was pretty neutral. But now we're seeing China shift towards support for Russia. And that's because they were cornered. And this gets us back to whether these sanctions are effective. But we'll leave that to another question. Guys, only 3 more likes until we get to 105. So let's go ahead and push through that. And then we'll move over to the next question. Let's see. Next question is coming from... let's see here. Guys, if you've not clicked the like button, please do that. While we're waiting for your questions, right now. So Greenwave asks you, are these sanctions a total bluff to Russia? So are they just as a showcase, we're doing something in here? Or are they meant to really impact Russia?
So the U.S. sanctions?
The global sanctions.
Oh, I think that the world knows, the U.S. knows, everybody knows Russia has its alternatives from those sanctions. I think from the beginning of this war, from, back then, even before this invasion, everybody knew sanctions were coming. Everybody knew that the only route that the U.S. and Western and European countries would take was sanctions, because nobody wants to go into a direct war with another nuclear power. So whether it's a bluff or not, I think it's a clear bluff. The U.S. doesn't want to go into war. And the U.S., now labeled as kind of like the peacekeeper or the global police, has to do something. Otherwise, people look at the U.S. as, okay, you're supposed to be the police officer, you're not doing your job. And so what they're doing now is they're saying, look, we put sanctions that they know Russia already has its loopholes in, and that Russia already has its alternatives. So it's not going to impact Russia. In fact, it's going to impact the world more than it's going to impact Russia.
I'm going to stop you because I disagree with you. I do think these sanctions are hurting the Russian military and the Russian leadership. I mean, are Russians finding alternatives to these sanctions? Yes, they are. Are they hurting them? Absolutely. And I don't think they are a bluff. If they were a bluff, you wouldn't see Visa, you wouldn't see SWIFT, you wouldn't see all these systems being blocked by, globally. So there is a bit of an impact. Now, is this impact going to paralyze Russia? I don't think so. Long term, is it going to benefit or hurt Russia? I think long term it'll make Russians more more able to handle sanctions, right? They have better stamina out of these sanctions, but I do think that they are being impacted.
But did those sanctions stop the war? No. If they didn't stop the war, then they're useless.
But
And the U.S. knew that they weren't going to stop the war.
Okay, they didn't stop the war at the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But I guarantee you, if this war lasts, a couple of months, they will lead to people in Russia starving. And the hope from people in Russia feeling this thing is that they flip against their government. Right? It's not because they want the Russian people to be hurt. It's because they want these Russian peoples to flip against the government.
Now, did the U.S. know that Russia was going to find a loophole through this?
There's no loophole.
There is a loophole.
What's the loophole?
The loophole is that Russia has 100 other suppliers, like China, that are going to, maybe you've lost the U.S. market, but China's the biggest supplier. Who cares about the U.S.
It's not just about being able to buy things. It's also about being able to sell things.
Yeah, even selling. When you still have India, the biggest seller is oil for Russia.
Yeah.
The whole world needs oil. If the U.S. is
But the U.S. is not buying oil.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Europe is not buying oil.
Who's the biggest supplier that needs oil? China and India. They both are desperate for oil. Plus, a lot of countries are now willing to be the third party because they profited.
But you have to remember something. Even if China were to buy oil for their own people, at the end of the day, that is limited.
Yeah, but
normally China buys this stuff so that they can sell to the world, right? They use it as
that's what's gonna happen, right? Why wouldn't China be the third person? If Russia tells them, listen up, we'll sell you all this oil for cheaper than what we did, but now you're buying even more than the global...
the world won't buy it because they know it's Russian. It's like, I'll tell you an example. In Canada, when Canada used to buy Chinese metal, the United States, because they were buying it cheap to sell it to the United States, because the United States tried to ban...
the world needs Russian oil, right? So... world needs Russian oil. They can't, and then all that they're trying to do is make it look like, listen, we're not buying it from Russia. Whether it's Russian oil or not, I don't think they care as of now because they're more desperate. They need Russia for oil.
Are you telling me if it lasts, if for the next year or so, let's say this war lasts a year, do you think these sanctions are not going to have an effect? You can't even buy anything. No, the dollar is banned in all of Russia.
But what I'm saying is, Russia has its, if the whole world bans, Russia and sanctions them.
Is China enough?
And China's buying all their supply and reselling it. Yes.
Is China enough?
No, but again, China's going to be the third person where China kind of gets the supply and uses whatever they can and then sells the rest.
No, but then that's the thing. That's what the United States was telling China.
No, but China and India...
If you do this, China, we're not going to buy from you and you'll get sanctioned like Russia. Look at North Korea.
Yeah, but is China going to listen to the U.S.?
Look, North Korea has nuclear weapons supposedly, and they have all these weapons and they show their magic power. But they're sanctioned by the entire world. How did they progress? Nothing. You saw no progression whatsoever. There are people starving on the streets. Yes, sanctions do affect, but obviously it didn't happen from day one.
No, but exactly. Which countries? What does North Korea have that the world needs? Nothing.
What are you talking? No. What do you mean?
North Korea doesn't have anything that the world doesn't need.
Okay, what does Russia have that the world?
The
needs?
oil that nobody else has.
Russia's not the global #1 producer of oil in the world.
It is the biggest.
Iraq was one of the top producers, and even after the war, what happened? Did the world run out of oil?
No, but again, because the supply here. Am I in timeout? Says Noodles. No, you're not.
You're not. So what?
No. What I'm saying is that Russia is the biggest supplier. If
they're not the biggest supplier.
If Russia tells Europe for 1 second that listen, we're not selling you gas and our oil, Europe is freezing to that.
Okay,
it's the destruction of Europe.
So are you telling me Europe right now is buying Russian oil?
Yes. Even as of this war, they're buying Russian oil. Actually, a lot of the countries decided that we're not going to sanction Russian oil specifically, but we're willing to sanction everything else. Oil and gas, together.
Listen, did you know that Saudi Arabia, right now, they have the ability to produce way more oil than they're producing, and it's controlled by OPEC. So all of the Middle East Gulf countries can produce way more. They're producing I believe it's less than half of their maximum capacity, and they're doing it too so that the oil prices are high. Mm-hmm. So if they really wanted to pressure...
Yeah, but how are you supposed to get the oil? The oil, it comes out of the ground.
No, but they have the capacity to produce it faster. They don't want to. You know why they don't want to?
No, but wait, how are you supposed to send the oil to Europe? Okay, you produce the oil. The gas pipelines and the oil pipelines are already in Germany. They already linked Germany and Russia. And that is the important part here. You have to have enough oil, and you have to have the capacity to send the oil. If you just have the oil, again, it's useless because nobody needs you. Everybody kind of already knows that there's a possibility that somehow something could happen that could stop the oil from going in.
No, but that's the thing. So yes, short term, but eventually they will find routes. It could go through Turkey.
Yeah, but again,
what happens
once the pipelines are built, then.
Yeah, exactly. But they will be built.
But that's
look,
like
if the oil right now costs $2 and you can save $1 per liter, do you think it's worth building even $1 billion or $2 billion?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
and you know what? If that happens, you know what will happen after? They will never need Russia ever.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
and
is
then it's going to hurt their
that
economy even
takes
more.
like 10 years to build. It takes so many years to build. So by the time that even happens, most likely, if they are keen on not using Russian oil, Europe would have frozen to death. No, everybody would be starving in Europe.
Okay, no, but what will happen is they will continue to use Russian oil for now. But even, let's say they go through these routes and they say, you know what, we're going to go buy oil from the Gulf countries, from OPEC. They build these pipelines. They may take 5 or 10 years. I don't think they'll take 10 years because Turkey is already getting set up. Now they're doing it through Greece. They're trying to bypass. So they're already set up. But if, let's say, it takes them 2 years, you know what will happen? Either this war ends after like a month, but they've already made the investment. Guess what? Who's going to get hurt long term? Russia. Even if they remove all the sanctions. Because now you can probably get cheaper. If OPEC wanted to bankrupt Russia, OPEC would. OPEC would probably bankrupt Russia before anybody else.
But they can't. That's what I'm saying.
Why can't they?
If they could, they would have. Why would they make Russia go ahead and dominate the oil market, oil and gas? Again, gas. I don't even like. There's not many gas countries.
No, but listen, OPEC does not want to get this war in between the United States and Russia. Keep in mind that they have American bases. Vast majority of countries in the Gulf have American bases. Do you want to get them? You don't want to get on Russia's bad side because guess who Russia's going to attack first? It's the countries that are closest to them that have American bases. If they get pissed off at the United States, they're screwed on both sides. So they're just kind of trying to stay in the corner, hide until this is done, and then decide what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So long term, it's going to hurt them. Somebody's saying I'm right.
Yeah, somebody said.
Guys, click that like button. I believe with like the type of debate we're having, we should be at like 1,000 people watching.
Yeah, I know.
Is it the stream? What's happening? Maybe you guys can give us advice. What's happening with the stream? We should be at 1,000 people watching. Guys are getting live images from the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, right now, where it's 7 a.m.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. 6:06. What's up, Jay? Welcome to the stream. Street is waking up. There's the guy on top of the mail.
The mall. It means the mall.
Mail. Alice, I thought this was question period.
It is. It's question and debate period.
It's
But
question.
we both kind of answered the question.
We answered the question in a debate format.
Yeah.
Guys, click the like button, share it. Let's do a Twitter post and then have everybody in the stream share the Twitter post. Who's down? Type a, give me a thumbs up if you're down. I'm going to post a Twitter post and everybody in the stream is going to share it with the same hashtags. No debate, please. Why not? I'm enjoying it.
So we both kind of answered the question. It's only if we have different answers that we debate.
Yeah, if we disagree with each other's answers. I clicked like. Thanks, Jay. Thanks for clicking the like button. Joe, already countries within Africa have had their grain supply cut in half. I agree, Joe. That's going to be a big one. The grain is going to be really critical in the next little while. So, Jay, we were talking about whether the fact the oil prices right now being high are affecting...
Or are the sanctions?
Are affecting, the sanctions and specifically the oil. The oil, the price of oil is benefiting or hurting Russia. Guys, only 3 more likes until we get 110. And Green says debates are exactly why we're here. Yeah, it's fun. You get to hear other opinions, other facts. Maris hurting Russia. I do believe that.
Mayor says that was a good debate. We would like to see a wrestling match.
Who said that?
Mayor is.
You guys like me talking maybe more than debating. I'm seeing the numbers here. Guys, if you have not clicked the like button, 2 more likes to get to 110. And again, you're getting live images from the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, right now. Text debates are easy to ignore. Yeah, why would you want to ignore, though? Jack, welcome back to the stream. Okay, so this is huge. My bunker is moving out now. Almost 100 people. We're being told to move. I will give location soon. Sounds good, Jack.
Jack is in Kiev.
Jack, you're in Kiev, right?
The dude at the mall, soldier or civilian? I think it's civilian.
I do think it's a civilian as well. Guys, only 2 more likes to 110. You guys like it better when I'm calm. Joe says, we get oil from Canada, 49%, Mexico, 7%, Saudi Arabia, 6%, Russia, 6%, and Colombia, 4%. Joe, what I was saying is, a lot of these countries have the ability to produce more oil. They're just not doing it so that the price of oil can be high. Tex says, I'm a soldier.
But Europe can't. Europe can't produce.
Doesn't matter, but my point is Europe can buy from a lot of these countries.
Yeah, but it's going to be so expensive.
Transportation is expensive, but over time, you develop new means of transportation.
This is what I'm saying. It's just going to take a long time. They can do it eventually, yes.
Like, how does that...
Eventually
they will. And if they eventually do find another way of transportation, transporting the oil from the Middle East or from other countries, then Russia's screwed even after they take out the sanctions.
Do you think, like, the European countries will face an impact, before they're able to find that new means?
Yeah, but until then, they keep buying oil from Russia. Yes, Russia will probably benefit,
Yeah, but what if Russia tells them, you know what, since you guys are finding alternatives, we're closing down the gas line. Then what are they supposed to do?
They find alternate.
Then they freeze to death until they...
They won't freeze. It's just gas will be more expensive. There's always going to be gas. You can ship it, but it's just going to be a longer route.
It's going to be so expensive, and there's not enough gas to supply.
No, there is enough gas. A lot of these countries are not producing at the maximum capacity.
That's oil, not gas.
All right, guys, getting live images from the capital of Ukraine. You guys don't really like the debates, eh?
They like looking at the people at the mall.
Yeah, the moment I start debating, I see the numbers of people on the screen. I don't know if they don't like the debate or what's going on.
More people at the mall.
Again, you guys are getting live images of the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, right now.
So sick, sorry, says we did like it a lot.
All right. Well, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. I do. I did at least. Karen, welcome to the chat. Love from Texas. Thanks, Karen. Cameron. I keep saying it wrong. Laser save. If Russia wanted to attack the U.S., Russia would have to go through Canada first. Russia would never make it to our coastal line. Why not? They can go, right? Or they can go through the Pacific.
Yeah.
They can go through the Pacific. They have submarines or they have an
Actually,
naval.
Canada would be a harder target. North.
No, Canada, they would go through north.
Yeah, but
that's tough, though. The weather is not going to help them there. Guys, 2 more likes to 100. If anybody joined new, please click the like button. Daniel says, I do a lot. He likes the chat, the debate as well. Yeah, I don't know. We keep dropping in numbers whenever I start debating. Damon says, love the debates. Just wish I could talk instead of typing. Damon, join on Discord. You can talk. You are? Actually, we're trying to... Jay says, Russia has a terrible navy.
Maria says, if no wrestling, at least a thumb war on camera. I can only imagine.
Is this us?
That's
it's us. Did we post it on Twitter?
No.
The link?
No.
Post it. We're gonna post a link on Twitter. If you really, I'm getting tired. If you really wanna support the stream, if you can retweet that with like some hashtags, I would be so grateful.
How many people would
I also from Texas, Cameron. About to go to bed. Have a good night, Maurice. Thank you for joining the stream. DDS. Why all look at oil? Ukraine produced 30% of the world's wheat. If the war continues, then wait to see next year. I agree with you, DDS. Wheat is going to be the biggest thing in this in the coming weeks.
Yeah, only the rich.
Wheat is only going to be for the rich.
Yeah, the elites.
If you're elite. Rich, just getting here. What happened today? So there were sirens a little while ago, Rich. Welcome to the stream, by the way. There were sirens a little while ago, but we didn't see airstrikes. Maurice says, we'll tune back in tomorrow. Well, you're welcome anytime, Maurice. Thank you for joining.
The thumb war maybe next time.
Alright, guys. I'm going to step out for the night. My voice, as you can see, is fading away, and I have work in the morning. For those, we will continue our coverage. Just different hosts. If you guys have not clicked the like button, please do that. If you wish to buy us a cup of coffee or buy News Geek Geek Junior a cup of coffee, you can do that through Super Chat.
Yeah.
And
Someone was asking when are we
Super
going to drop our
sticker.
merch. I said,
maybe someday. If you guys want to donate cryptocurrencies, we will accept cryptocurrency.
you get the Geek merch.
Geek merch.
Just a nuke. That's going to be on the show.
Alright, I'm going to hype up the stream before I leave. I'm going to hype up the stream like crazy before I leave. Maybe we'll get to like 250 people watching in the next 10 minutes, okay? On 3, I'm going to hype up this stream. Get yourself ready. And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3, go. Guys, we're live from the capital of Ukraine, Kiev. You're getting live images from cameras at various different parts of the capital. As you can see, guys, we had sirens a little while ago in the capital. We didn't see any airstrikes yet. Elia, Moldova. What about Moldova, Elia? So, Elia is in Ukraine in Mariupol. And
No. Now they're going to Moldova.
He's going to Moldova right now.
Well, now the stream is good.
We will try and follow him.
We just got nuked.
The stream just got